Hi folks, and welcome to today's video. Your top questions about herniated disc recovery answered. Now, I do make a lot of great content for those folks out there suffering with low back pain issues such as sciatica nerve pain, lumbar stenosis, lumbar arthritis, herniated discs, bulging discs. If that is you, hit that subscribe button. You'll get notified when I make some great new content for you guys to get back on the road to recovery. But without further ado, let's get into today's video. So folks, today I would like to go over 10 of the top questions that I get asked by clients and people on discovery calls about herniated discs, about that recovery journey. Now, if you don't know, I actually do a free advice call. There's actually a link you can book in down below there. It's also in the description down below, where you can sign up. I speak to you guys for 45 minutes up to an hour, give you some free advice for you to go and try to get yourselves back on the road to recovery with your own low back pain issue, be it herniated disc, bulging disc, sciatica, etc. Okay, and I actually administer a questionnaire prior to the call, which people return back to me, and one of the questions I ask is, what questions would you like me to cover during that call? And I've compiled in today's video a kind of a top 10 of the most common questions people often ask about their herniated disc and how they get back on the road to recovery and what that journey will look like. So let's dive right in with question number one. So number one, folks, probably the number one question I do get asked is, will I need surgery? Okay. Now, the literature and the general consensus is that for 80-90% of people with a herniated disc in the lumbar region, neck, cervical, even thoracic, you will not need surgery. You will recover with conservative treatment, okay? So generally speaking, you will not need surgery. There may be cases where you have things like drop foot, you have problems with bowel control, bladder control, you've got cauda where there's a lot of pressure on the nerves. You may risk losing the power of that nerve completely. Then that will be emergency surgery. Definitely will be the best course of action going forward. However, for 80-90% of people, you will not need surgery, okay? Number two, there's a very, very common question, is how long will it take the injury to heal? Now, I do have a specific video on that. It's going to pop up at the end of this one. Okay, it takes you through the different healing processes in a more deep physiological way of me explaining it to you guys. Okay, so watch the end of this one and that one will pop up and you can go and see it. But generally, conservatively, you're looking probably 6 to 12 months, okay? Yes, there has been cases in the literature of 4 to 6 months people being fully recovered, but in my experience, it's more like 6 months, more likely a year, and then maybe another few months, 4 to 6 months after that, before you're fully what we'd call sport or match fit, able to do high intensity exercise, lifting, etc. But usually most daily normal life activities in that 6 to 12 month period, okay? Now, following on from that, another question I often get asked, number three, is, will I ever be able to, and then insert what you want after that. It's, play squash again, play tennis again, go mountain biking again, pick up my kids again, get down on the floor and play with my kids again, drive the car for long distance. People ask a very general question about, something that's really popular activity they do, or something that's very important in their lives, and they can't do it because they're injured, and will I ever be able to do again, okay? Yes. I would say for 99% of people, you will be able to do those activities again. What about the other 1%? Okay, if you were doing some particular event or some particular modality which actually caused the injury in the first place, perhaps you're deadlifting, maybe you're a competitive powerlifter, etc. Okay, you probably will be able to go back to lifting again, but lifting to that caliber, that level, maybe not, okay? Strongman training as well. If you're a big, heavy, competitive strongman, that injury, it could be one which will stop you going back to the same level. Not always, okay? But there are cases of people who have come back to, compete again at a very, very high level. But for most people, yes, you will be able to do those activities again, all right? Number four, another popular one. How do I make sure I do not re-injure myself in the future? Okay, so $1 million question, right? Don't do anything too crazy, but you want to ensure and make steps in your plan to get yourself as strong as possible, get your spine nice and strong, get your core nice and strong. You're trying to essentially bulletproof your spine, okay? A very common mistake is people often undertake a physiotherapy routine, 4 to 6 months, they finish the rehab routine and then they go back to their old habits again. They don't continue to exercise, they don't continue to do those exercises that brought them relief, and they regress back into the previous pain, they get injured again. And people will say, you still doing the exercises? No, okay? So you've got to make sure you continue on a path of getting yourself stronger. If you don't like going to the gym, okay, you gotta do some stuff at home, get out walking, doing some activities, swimming, stuff which basically encourages general overall body strength and something that gets you moving in different sort of not linear fashion, makes you move a little bit outside your normal movement patterns to get that strength and stability through your hips, knees, lower back, etc. Okay. Now, moving on to that, people often say, well, Colin, what exercises should I be doing, right? There's so much information out there. You know, they tell me to be walking, so I walk 10 miles, right? They tell me to swim instead, so I swim, 20 lengths or something, okay? Right, it's always better when you start out on this injury recovery journey to start with less. Less is more, okay? I've actually got another video that's going to pop at the end of this one. It is it's a little program, it's a specific beginner's rehabilitation workout for those people that have just herniated their discs, okay? I've also got a course, which is going to flash it down below as well, which again is for people who've just herniated the disc, they've not started rehab yet, okay? Then we've got 3-4 weeks before they start. You can undergo that particular course, and that will actually help you prepare you, start to get you stronger, help decompress the spine, in readiness for you to continue on with rehab plans, okay? But there is another video that's going to pop at the end of this one as well, which has just got a basic rehab routine that anyone can do. You can do it in the safety of your own home to start out, okay? It's always better to start on the lower side of volume. And the program itself, it should involve things like obviously strengthening your core, but also your limbs as well, stretching and mobility, and some form of decompression of the spine as well. I'm a big advocate of that, encouraging basically all those things to be part of that program, okay? Now, obviously following on from, yes, you should be doing something, but number 6, how often should I be exercising, okay? Because I just mentioned less is more, and a lot of problems people, but I was speaking to a guy quite recently, is, they're walking like 20,000 steps every day, and they're doing pull-ups at home, and they're doing stretching every day, and they're doing too much. You're literally doing 15, 17 hours a week. You're almost as much as a professional athlete, right? And you're in an injured state and you're trying to come back from this injury. So you really want to sort of taper down your work. And generally when I work with people, yes, they're doing certain things every day, but we have sort of like higher volume days, lower volume days. You do this kind of undulating, and it's called periodize the training. So one day will maybe be their exercises, the next day maybe stretching and mobility, next day exercises, then stretching and mobility, then maybe they'll have a day or two off at the weekend depending on their schedules to let the bodies recover properly. It's not good to be doing something every single day, okay, unless it's a very, very low intensity. A good way to try to break it up, for example, is you do, say it's planking or some sort of core stabilization exercise. If you struggle to do 1 minute, like you're shaking and whatnot towards the end, then break it up. Do 3 or 4 20-second planks throughout the day. So over the course of the day, you do 80 seconds of planking, which your body can obviously do because it's short intervals, but you're not getting into that fatigue state where something might end up hurting or you overdo it, okay? So when it comes to how often, you've got to make sure you periodize it with exercise one day, lesser the next day, a bit more the next day, less the next day, okay? Now, number 7, come on, you're doing your exercises, you're starting your routine. Number 7, how do you know if you're actually getting better, okay? Well, there's a couple of things. I always advocate people to journal, okay? Keep a note of what you're doing, how much you're sleeping, how long you're walking, be it steps, be it time, how long you're doing your exercises for, okay? So that you can actually see week to week, day by day, your progress you're making. But the other thing which will often happen in your environment externally is people will actually start noticing things. They're like, hey, you're walking more confidently, you're walking faster, you just carried in that shopping without having to hit hinge and do certain things. You naturally become stronger. And other people will often see this and comment on this. But again, if your own, because some people refuse to see this, right, when other people say it to them. But be honest with yourself and journal, okay? Write down, because when you look back over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, you will start to see gains, improvements. Yes, it can be small, okay? But it shows that you are getting better, all right? Now, I just said those gains can be small. And number 8, another question I often get asked, and people, I would say 9 out of 10 people always comment on this, is how do you stay positive? How do you stay positive when progress is so slow, okay? I did a video quite recently on the sort of the time frame of healing and how long it takes. And as I said, guys, you know, conservatively 6 to 12 months, it's a long time, and you have to change your life around it, change how you move, etc., etc. But it's a lot about reframing your thoughts. And I do have other videos on this as well. I can put a link to one of those videos down in the description. And it's about understanding what is within your grasp, what you can do, what you're able to manage. And that is what you aim to do every day or every week. And then as that gets better, you'll be able to do more and do more and do more. Looking at it like, oh, I can't play tennis right now, okay? I'll never be able to play tennis again. That's the wrong way to look at it. You should be breaking down, okay, tennis is my end point here. How do I start to get there? Okay, I want to start walking. I want to be able to walk up to an hour non-stop, okay? As far as strengthening, I want to be able to strengthen my arms, strengthen my core. So you're doing things step by step, which will get you to the point of being able to move and shuffle and move around the court and obviously strike a ball. That's just one example. So you want to think and control and manage what is within your control over the course of the day or week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks of your training program, okay? I know it sounds easy for me to say, but again, in the description down below, I'm going to link to a video which is more specific, goes into more detail about how to reframe your thoughts and stay positive on that journey, okay? Because you're looking for those small wins, and that keeps you mentally engaged, and it keeps your motivation going to keep going to that ultimate long-term goal. All right, number 9, when do you know if you've done too much? People often ask me, look, you know, I'm able to do this, this, and this. How do I know it's too much? Well, it may seem obvious, but pain is a very good indicator, okay? If you have an uptick in pain, either during the activity or after the activity, that is quite normal, okay? What is not normal is that pain upticks and it stays there for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. And it doesn't start to taper off to maybe 4 or 5 days, okay? Typically, you'll get a pain increase when you do something brand new, when you're on this recovery journey. That can happen that day or the day after. Then it starts to subside, 2nd day, 3rd day, 4th day, and you're back to where you were or even below, okay? If you get an uptick in pain and it doesn't go away after 3 days, it doesn't reduce, then you're like, ooh, I've done too much. Okay, I need to scale it back a little bit, all right? So that's obviously very obvious. Another way you'll often see that you're perhaps not getting better, you've done too much, is that your pain is not, whatever scale it's on, or your ability to move or do certain things, and it's been 1 week, 2 weeks, you've been undergoing this program, 3 weeks, and nothing's changing, okay? That normally means you're probably doing too much overall, or need to change some things in there, okay? So the 2 things mainly are an uptick in pain, which goes up and stays up for sort of 3, 4, 5 days before it comes down. The other one is you're just not getting, like you're trying all these different things, but you're not getting better, okay? That typically means you're doing too much of something, and something has to change, okay? Then, following on from this, I guess quite often people ask me this sort of follow-up question. It's like, well, okay, Colin, when should I go back to my doctor? Or, you know, consider changing the modality that I'm using for my rehab, be it osteopathy, chiropractic, physiotherapist, rehab specialist, etc. You know, when should I go back, okay? All right, typically with this injury, you are, for most people, in rehab for anywhere from 6 to sort of 3 months, so like roughly 12 weeks. 6 to 12 weeks you're probably in rehab, okay? They'll give you stuff to do at home, or they should do. If you're not seeing a significant difference from where you started to that 3-month point, because we have to give it 3 months generally, because the first month you're a lot of acute pain, you're trying to control the pain as much as you can. You start with some very basic strength work. Then you go into your 2nd and 3rd month where you're really starting to lay down some good foundations. Things are healing within the body. You're starting to get your strength up. You're getting your distance of walking up, etc. And you'll see this big jump, like a big decrease in pain and a big jump in your strength, mobility, and movement. And that normally happens within the first 3 months. If you've not seen that at 3 months, then it most likely is time to go back to the doctor, get a second opinion, maybe get another MRI, maybe get another referral, because perhaps the physiotherapist you're working with currently is just not bringing the results that you should have by this time. I often say to people, look, if you're, you know, the definition of insanity, right, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, okay? If you're not getting a change in outcome from what you're doing, then you need to look at a different modality, because different physiotherapists, different osteopaths go to different schools. They have different modalities. Some are more open and they will research the different literature to use different modalities to help everybody else. Some people will just focus on one particular physiotherapist technique and nothing else. So you need to be aware that every specialist can be at a different level, okay, in their field, and it's okay to shop around and ask questions. It really is okay to ask questions, okay? So guys, listen, there's 10 or probably the top 10 questions that I get asked from clients, from prospects who I've worked with in my free advice calls, my clients who I've worked with physically and online. I hope that's answered some of your questions that you have asked yourself as well, or your doctors. If I've not answered that question here in this video, then please hit me up in the comment section down below. I do answer all comments, okay? It might take me a few days or a week or so to get around to it, but I do answer all your questions, okay? So folks, listen, do not forget to share, like, and of course subscribe to get more great content, to help the algorithm, to help me provide better content for you guys out there. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.